Welcome to NerdNOut, the only podcast that will prepare you for the bar exam in California and Texas. I'm your host, Duke Savage.
And I'm Ronin Hunter.
And today we have a show that's been cooking up since the Final Fantasy game launch. What's up, Ronin Hunter?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm so happy that we get to finally record this show that we've been talking about it's been years in the making, it seems.
Yeah. Last time we first started talking about it was back when Nixon was in office?
Nixon was in office, that's right. He was barely getting impeached, I believe. But Still in office nonetheless.
Yeah, so long time coming, but we're finally getting that first foot on the floor, and it is cold.
It is definitely cold. Well, I hope everyone enjoys it. I know that we're going to have a lot of fun recording it, so I hope you all enjoy it too.
Yeah, I just hope you don't think it sucks.
Well, even if you do, what if I think it sucks?
I'll keep that to yourself.
Will do. So what's going on, Mike? What's new in the world of Mike Town?
Past couple of weeks, I took a nice little trip through the 7 levels of hell.
Oh, Chile?
Yeah, that. Surprisingly, yeah, that bottom circle was surprisingly cold. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's wouldn't recommend it.
Well, it is winter there, so
yeah,
technically. Well, no, technically not, huh? We're still in fall.
Yeah,
that would explain
we're going to be in fall until next March, I think.
Until next March, completely skipping winter. So usually the case here in Texas.
Right.
All right. Well, man, it's been a crazy fall on my end. Been trying to get reestablished with my games. Been playing a whole bunch, getting introduced to some new ones. So we'll go ahead and discuss that in the gaming section of this podcast later on. So can't wait to talk about that.
Yes, definitely.
So since this inception of this podcast, there have been a couple of things that have come up. Most recently was the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer redesign. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah. And we say recent. This was probably, like a month ago?
Yeah, about a month ago, right?
But yeah, so these trailers have been a little infamous along the internet. The original one came out, back in April, May, somewhere around that time. And, ooh, boy.
Oh, God, the internet had a heyday on that one.
Oh, yeah. So let's go ahead and start with that one. What were your thoughts on the quote unquote originality of that one?
Jeez, and you're right. It was an original take that I believe that they tried to do. They tried to make it original. They tried to make it not look like Sonic at all, with his long, skinny, lanky legs, his white-haired hands that they tried to pass off as of his gloves. And they gave him 2 beady little eyes that completely separated in the center of his face.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like a hedgehog. He did.
I've seen hedgehogs that look better, but okay.
Right. They try to make it look like an anthropomorphized human and hedgehog rolled into one, which just completely looked terrifying.
Yeah. Let's not forget his teeth. Those chompers were
those chompers were
stuff from, the pale man from Pan's Labyrinth,
right?
Had a better smile than him.
Had a better smile, absolutely. Man, but yeah, so they got a redesign. It looks fantastic now, in my opinion. It just looks so much greater now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The new trailer that came out just a few weeks ago blew the old one away. And got reignited my interest into the film. So
absolutely.
So that they stuck more to the video game aesthetic to it.
Yeah, and the quirkiness too. He's a lot funnier. He's like lighthearted with it.
Yeah, this one just blew the other one out of the water. Yeah, because that other one, it looked like some Sonic fan art that should have been buried in the deep web.
Yes. Apparently, it cost $5 million to do the whole redesign, plus an extra, I think, 4 or 5 months because it was supposed to release in November, but now it's going to be releasing in February. So a lot of time and a lot of money went into the redesign. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and applaud that by seeing it at least twice. Depends. I mean, if it's still a pile of dog shit, then I'm not gonna go. But.
Right. Yeah, I'll at least give it the one look, and then depending on how that goes, I don't know if it warrants a second.
Right.
Because I mean, it's still at the end of the day a video game movie, and video game movies do not have the best track record.
I know.
I mean, the best one to come out recently was Detective Pikachu, and even then, a lot of critics didn't like it because it was meant for fans of the game series, so they didn't have to explain a lot of the lore.
Right.
And a lot of first timers that don't know that, didn't get it. So I wonder if they're going to do that with Sonic, which I doubt it. They're going to try to explain the world he comes from, and because from what it looks like, he's in our world. He comes from his world to ours, and they're going to have to explain that to the human characters.
Yes.
So I'm feeling they're going to dumb it down a little bit in terms of exposition, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. I don't know if you heard, but the animation studio responsible for Sonic's redesign has reportedly been closed.
That's right.
Of December 12th.
Yeah, just this past week. So that was a big blow because it wasn't just the redesign; it was also for Detective Pikachu and some other movies that they worked on. So that was a shocker there.
Yes, definitely. I mean, whether or not it's going to be good or bad, the fact that they put in so much more time and effort into this, I mean, it's commendable, and they got paid. But now, geez, prayers to them and their families, especially so close to Christmas. So,
absolutely. Hopefully, they can bounce back, get with other animation studios, or start their own. You never know; they could do that.
Yeah, that's true. Good luck to Sonic and his upcoming adventures.
Right.
So what else do we got on the
docket? This one also came out a while back too, but it stirred the pot on the internet, and this was the Tesla Cybertruck.
Oh, that's right. My boy Elon Musk coming in hot with some polygonal trucks from the N64.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm almost expecting, when you walk up to it, you have to push the A button to get in.
Yes, that's right. Man, I mean, I love Cyberpunk. I love, everything about this truck I enjoy just because of, it's a nerdy aesthetic. He did it just because he was like, F it, I want to do something crazy, and we're going to do something crazy. So he recently made a truck, a fully electric truck that, I don't know, I'm hesitant to say that's going to be rivaling the market of current trucks, because to me this kind of seems like its own thing. I don't think it was made to rival the F-150 or the Dodge Ram. What are your thoughts?
Right. Yeah, I agree. This isn't meant to, right now I don't think it's meant to be a full consumer truck. This is more like can we do it? Should we do it? All right, let's do it kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But it is pretty exciting because, electric vehicles have come a long way in the last decade or so. And it's usually just been cars, and we're still doing while they do have a fully electric car, the ones you see the most are the hybrid ones. So they still run on gas a little bit.
Yes.
So hopefully this will be, the start of where we see fully electric vehicles that aren't just cars.
Yeah, and I know Ford and Toyota, I believe, are going to be releasing some electric trucks possibly next year. But from what I've heard, they're just going to be your standard trucks, just with an electric motor in it. Mm-hmm. The reason why this truck is causing some hesitation, some issues, some controversy is the armored windows. The motors on here are also ridiculous. The starting price is $39,900 for a single motor rear wheel drive. Words are hard. And this is supposed to be like, your standard thing. For $39,900, that seems fantastic if you're going to be wanting to drive around in this futuristic truck.
Right, because when you consider most vehicles, trucks more specifically start at about 40 to 50.
Absolutely,
with fully loadings, with fully loadeds being close to 70.
70, 80, absolutely.
Yeah, something like this is very surprising bit of news to find out about the electric truck, because I remember when the electronic car came out, it was a very long while before it was even affordable to the average consumer.
That's right.
Usually it was just like the super rich that would able to get it, and even then it was not a lot of people got it.
Yeah, very true.
To start in a price range that most consumers can shoot for is very surprising.
There's also a dual motor that is said to rival some of the powerhouses of the trucks, which is going to be starting at $49,900. So that's going to be your working man's truck. I don't know how you would with the bed of this truck being closed off and polygonal, but it does extend horizontally. So we'll see how that works. And then there's also a tri-motor all-wheel drive for $69,900 with a self-driving addition for $7,000. So for $77,000, that thing, I can't fathom the amount of power that you would need from a Cybertruck that would require 3 motors. That just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, I know they did a test video where they hooked it up to another F-150. I think it was an F-150.
Yeah, it was an F-150.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't remember how many. Did they say how many engines they were running on the Tesla truck?
It was just the single.
Okay. Yeah, and it looked like it was, holding its own with just the one engine against another F-150.
You know what? There was actually a lot of controversy with that video. I don't know if you heard. The F-150 was only doing rear wheel drive, and I guess like the science behind it just boiled down to the Tesla Cybertruck weighs almost 3 tons. The F-150 weighs about 2.5. So the weight distribution is obviously going to be in favor of the Cybertruck. It's going to be hauling more. It has more to bolt it down. So a lot of people were saying that was an unfair test.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people were just saying it doesn't prove how powerful it is, just how heavy it is. But when you take into simple physics, the heavier machine is going to be able to do more in the end. But that's still debatable at this point.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
This is kind of a thing where we need to see what's going to happen more down the line. But I don't know. It is pretty exciting in the long run, because I think they still have another 4 or 5 years before we start seeing this on the market.
The single motor RWD, I'll start saying because I can't say rear wheeled. is expected to begin production. Production is expected to begin early 2022. So it's still going to be a very long time until we see this.
And the whole polygonal design of it, that'll probably change before then too.
It will probably change. I personally love it. I want it to stay with it. I think just because it reaches back to our childhood, because we played those games in the early 3D days of gaming. Yes.
So, but for the average person out there, they're more into the whole sleek, organic designs of modern day cars. But I don't know. 2-3 years is a very long time. Aesthetics can change a lot since then.
Absolutely.
I remember back in I don't know if you remember, back in 2005, Ford changed how the front of the Mustang looked.
Yes, I do remember that.
It used to taper off to that rounded point that most cars would see, and then it just went to a flat drop off. And a lot of people are like, well, what the hell is this? But yeah, something like that can happen overnight, and who knows, with the Cybertruck, that could influence how cars are being made in the future. I don't know. Again, it's another wait and see kind of thing.
Definitely excited.
And I think if going back to the engines, the amount of engines this thing's going to have, or motors. If just one engine or one motor. See, I'm having you're rubbing off.
Right.
If one motor can do that with an F-150 or give a little bit of trouble to that, what's the power of 2 or 3 going to be doing?
Ungodly
are we
amounts.
looking at right? Are we looking at Cybertrucks are going to be the new cabins for semis in the future, or what's that?
Shoot, I know, right? It can be able to haul so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I doubt it'll be carrying those stuff where you see them shipping the giant electronic windmill fans.
Oh, right.
I don't think it'll do something like that, but a standard trailer, would be more than easy. And then the thing that gets me is they're still trying to do the whole self-driving thing.
Yeah, that still has a lot of bugs in it.
Yeah, because I remember, was it earlier this year or last year, they tried to implement that in regular cars, and they ran into a lot of speed bumps. Mm-hmm. One of which I think actually resulted in the death of someone.
Yeah. There's the self-driving feature is still heavily. It has a lot of bugs, and obviously they say that if you're going to be doing self-driving, you always have to have your hand on the wheel and monitor, obviously, the road, because apparently, from what I've seen, is that it won't take into account current construction, and that seems obvious, but a lot of these accidents are happening because the drivers are not looking at the road and saying that, oh, hey, there's a barrier here that wasn't here yesterday. Obviously it's not going to be updated on the maps, and so they think that the Tesla's sensors will just oh, you know what, there's a bumper there, but it relies heavily on maps. And so if there's a barrier there from one day to another, it's gonna crash if you're not looking at the road.
Right. As of right now, self-driving is more of like a glorified cruise control.
Yeah, you said it. That's a perfect explanation of that.
You can put cruise control on, but if you need to stop, it's not going to stop for you. You still need to steer at times.
Yeah, exactly.
But and I know updating traffic maps is getting a little bit better. It's still not the best, especially here in Texas. We have a lot of construction going on. So much so that I suggest Texas change the star from the flag to a traffic pylon.
Yes, we should. Oh, shoot.
But I don't know if they can get Google or different map apps to update on a daily, heck, even twice a day, that would be leaps and bounds for the self-driving thing.
Absolutely.
If they can keep those updates going, the cars will know when to do. And I know a lot of the newer cars are coming out with those self-stopping features. So maybe find a way to boost the range on that. I don't know. Something you could probably do is like it would be very expensive to implement this, but on traffic barriers that are being put up by constructions or road closures, put a strip on one side of the barrier that the car can pick up and say, oh yeah, there's a barrier there, we got to start moving over or adjusting. But again, that's probably technology that's at best in its infancy, if it even exists.
It's a good idea, though.
Very expensive to. Yeah, I mean, it's like who was it? Someone once told me a good idea to stop traffic accidents is just put magnets into bumpers. So if you start getting too close to another bumper, it just it stops it. And then someone countered all that's going to do is just going to cause more accidents because you're going to start ricocheting off of everybody's bumper.
Yes, exactly. Magnets.
So I don't. Yes. Where did I hear that?
Breaking Bad?
Oh, that's going to drive me. Was it Breaking Bad? It must have been a TV show because I could have sworn it sounded too good to be, real life, just a impromptu conversation. It had to be a TV show, and it's going to bug the crap out of me till I remember it.
The listeners are probably, it's this.
Yeah. Comment down below where it is.
Right. Send us an email.
Right.
If you remember. Nerd and Out Pod. Nerd, the letter N, OUT pod at gmail.com. Thank you.
Yeah, and keep them clean, please. We need positive feedback.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that about covers it for me on the Cybertruck.
Yeah, that covers it for me too.
That was out of left field but very exciting nonetheless to see what's happening with that.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
I think the next big and most important question that comes in next is so Duke, what you playing?
What am I playing?
Yeah, what are you playing?
What you playing? So right now, I'm currently playing a game called The Outer Worlds. I've been looking forward to this game for so long since... Geez, I remember I was talking to you about it when I was still working at TFCU when it was first announced. It was still in its rumor stage back then, but I was really, really looking forward to it. The Outer Worlds is Obsidian's latest and greatest racing game that comes jam-packed with the greatest parts of a game that you would expect from any MMO. The original creators from Fallout made this little gem, and just right off the bat, it won like so many acclaim from reviewers, Fallout lovers, people that had been following Obsidian. It's a really, really solid game. During its launch, it only was reported to have 2 bugs. And that for like, you know, I wouldn't even call it a major A-lister game, would you?
No, because I remember you mentioning it to me, and again, it was like still in development. There was no set release date.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing it on the shop and hearing about it. I'm like, whoa, this just like snuck under the radar. So yeah, and then I started watching. I haven't had a chance to play it myself, but I've been watching some other YouTubers playing it, and I gotta say, it looks really interesting. It's kind of, to me, it looks kind of like a mix between the Fallout games with No Man's Sky or Borderlands.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It looks very interesting. Has a really cool, like retro futuristic aesthetic to it. Something you would see from like an Asimov novel, or something from like the 50s or the 60s when they talked about sci-fi. And
that's
it looks
good. Yeah, that's
cool.
true. Yeah.
And the fact that it only had 2 bugs reported at launch is astounding.
And yeah,
especially
it wasn't even like
day and
game
age.
breaking. It was more of like on the dialogue portion of it.
Yeah, that's amazing that they got it down to so little bugs upon launch. Because I mean, let's take a look in the last few years at games that launch, AAA title games that launch,
God,
and they are complete messes. So let's start with the big one, which is another contender for Outer Worlds, or Outer Worlds is contending against. And contending is a very strong word when mentioning this game. Fallout 76.
Fallout 76 is,
yes.
If you were to ask Bethesda, it is their brainchild. It is their most proud achievement of 2018. What did it come out 2018? Yeah.
2018.
Oh my God.
Brainchild is they're like lifting it up on their side, on their part. It's more like a brain fart to everybody else.
Yes.
I was personally excited. I know we both were, because it's a Fallout game on the Switch, and it's an MMO. And then you find out it's just an MMO, and there's no storyline, and it's just you going in the world playing with other players, and it's like,
and the servers would crash, and there was at least 100 bugs. And if you go to the Reddit, God bless these mods, man, on this Reddit, because they try so hard. Obviously, if you're going to be a mod on a Reddit, you have to believe in what you're modding. They are monitoring this subreddit, and it's so hard for them to defend this game because there's just an outpour of crapping on this game. But if you look at it objectively as well, Fallout is crapping on the fans. Every time that a patch is released, more bugs come out of it than they were supposed to fix. And it sounds like a joke. It really does. But it happens every time that there's a patch.
Yeah, and it's surprising that at this point Bethesda keeps trying to dump money into this instead of trying to cut it off or start from scratch.
Well, the way that they're affording that is just this year, I believe, or New Year's of last year. I forget when they launched it, but they launched. Oh no, wait, maybe it was earlier this year in October. They launched Fallout First, a subscription service to Fallout 76 where you pay $15 a month and you get membership benefits such as private worlds that apparently are not private, scrap boxes for unlimited storage, which apparently is not unlimited storage, a survival tent, which who gives, nobody asked for that, atoms. You get 1,650 atoms per month that you can use at the Atomic Shop, which $15 per month, you're pretty much losing money every freaking time that you spend money on this. A Ranger armor outfit. Oh my gosh, the fact that they had the balls to put the Ranger armor outfit as part of a Fallout First membership benefit. That, at the exact same time that Obsidian launched the Outer Worlds, was kind of like, hey, I know that you made Fallout New Vegas, and I know that we suck, and I know that you just released a new game, but we're going to release the coolest looking outfit that we had in Fallout New Vegas as part of our Fallout 76. It's like they just had to dip their fingers in that. They just had to remind everyone that even though Obsidian developed and made Fallout New Vegas, hey, we still have the rights to this juicy, juicy game. It's like, oh, you freaking petty.
I was a huge Bethesda fan, and they've fallen to the wayside on me. They're like a couple of steps above EA at this point.
Yeah.
Because that was nothing but a pure cash grab of a release. They should have done what EA did with Battlefront 2. Granted,
what
they didn't do the right thing with Battlefront 2. So you probably remember Battlefront 2 when it came out.
Oh geez, I just
implemented the loot boxes. Yeah,
I completely shoved that down so that I don't ever remember that. And
well, you're welcome for reminding you.
Jeez, I remember this crapshoot.
Yeah, so EA got a lot of crap for the loot boxes and then the unfair advantage that it gave players that were willing to drop the money. Then they took it out, and I never played it because of what happened. I was like, no, I'm not tossing money at that shit. But I hear they're slowly releasing updates to try and fix everything, while as Bethesda is like, no, we're doing this because we want more money.
Absolutely. Strategically, I know why they're doing it. They're doing it because they don't have another A-list game coming out for a few years. I believe the next one is going to be Skyrim. The new Skyrim. Yeah, is it called Skyrim?
No, the new Elder Scrolls. Skyrim was one of the Elder Scrolls.
Right. Yeah. So the new Elder Scrolls is going to be coming out. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be 2020 or 2021, but that's their next big A-lister. Now, their last big A-lister was what? Fallout 76, yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the next big game for them. Mm-hmm. But they were just banking on the money more than the idea or the work they put into it.
Exactly. And the only reason why they're doing this Fallout First crap, which honestly, if we're all being honest, it's not benefiting the players, not one bit. It's completely gouging these impressionable players that really, really love a franchise. I love Fallout. And the fact that this was their answer to that, it's so insulting to me that they would just feel that they were in the right to just completely gouge their customers and just take the money to fund them and their projects for another 2 years without releasing a good game. And who knows if it'd be good. Right. I'm hoping it will.
Yeah. I'm excited for the new Elder Scrolls because I got into Skyrim last year when I picked it up for the Switch.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But then I started comparing Skyrim to their other games. And another travesty that they're still doing is they're not updating their engines. Their game engines are still running on the same stuff from like 10, 12 years ago.
No kidding.
it's actually become kind of a inside and outside joke of Bethesda bugs, because they leave them in there. Oh, because that adds charm to the game. But then you get something that breaks the game, breaks your save, and it's like, no, they could have fixed this.
Absolutely.
And it became very apparent in 76 that they're running on an engine that's not made for an online MMO. They needed to have developed a new one right from the bottom, specifically for an MMO, and it shows. It now shows that they're not putting the effort into it. So I don't know. Sucks. I have to wait to see. Yeah. Now, if they did with 76 what Final Fantasy 14 did, I don't know if you knew what happened with the 1.0 of Final Fantasy 14.
No, what happened?
It released 9 or so years ago. I forget the release year it came out. But the first version of Final Fantasy XIV was hated. Everyone hated the gameplay. They hated the UIs. Everything about it was absolutely hated. So after about a year or two, they went back to the drawing board and they remade it to the current Final Fantasy XIV that exists today. And they still released expansions for the original 14 release, and took the money from the subscription to apply towards developing the new system that runs today.
Okay.
And they even worked it into the storyline when they shut down the servers for 1.0. What had happened was that world was destroyed in a massive war, and the new one picks up 5 years later where the world's rebuilding itself. And it was like, that works. Why can't Bethesda do something like that? Take the money from these, don't charge $15 a month. Start small.
Right.
Use that money to revamp the whole system, and release something that's much better than you've got going right now. But I don't know, Bethesda, they seem to be more, well, we shot ourselves in both feet. What can we shoot next?
The people. Let's do that.
Yeah, everyone duck.
Yes. Oh man. But we'll see. I mean, like you said.
Yeah. Back on tangent. I mean, that was
yes. Forgive me. I started us on that. That was my fault. But so anyway, The Outer Worlds is nothing like that. The Outer Worlds is a refreshing pace compared to everything that we just said. So far, 2 months in, it's already had about 4 patches, and things were fixed that you would never even think to include. I mean, they made a field of view. They made they added so much into the game that wasn't even asked for, but they felt like, hey, you're gonna play it better, so let's do it. That's the kind of stuff that we want to see. They added bigger subtitles for people that so it can be easier to read. I mean, nobody really complained about that.
It was a bit of an issue for me. I had trouble reading the text when I watched. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think it may have been with the recording processes that the YouTubers that I was watching were doing.
Okay.
Because I've noticed that sometimes it looks really dark, and then it looks like really compressed, so the image is hard to read. But the fact that they increased that is really awesome, because
that's good. That definitely would have benefited someone like you then. I mean,
yeah,
that's awesome. That's good. I mean, compared again to Fallout 4, still hasn't received a decent patch after 4 years of it being out. So already Obsidian is doing so much to keep their fans happy. What I like about this is that it's a very small game in the scope of things. It can be easily finished within a day if you really pour all your time and effort into it, and it can be finished in so many different ways. There was one time where I played a smart character, and I was able to persuade a shaman lady to basically overdose me and my companions with hallucinogens as we seek enlightenment to like a higher religion. And it was such an interesting playthrough, because one of my companions, he was a vicar, so he was actively seeking enlightenment and trying to see the world differently, as he was basically spouting off a religion that he didn't believe in anymore. And then I had a cleaning robot with us in the room. And so as we were getting dosed and we were, learning enlightening things that was very philosophical for a game. Even I was questioning some of the things that I normally think. It was very, very nice. So as we were like dosing up and we're both learning more about life, this robot is just warning, exceedingly toxic levels in the air. Warning. And he just kept giving off warnings like this material in the air is going to be very harmful for human consumption. And finally, towards the end of the trip, he's like, warning, filters are overloaded, warning. And even him, the robot, was getting too much for his filtration system. And he was like, and he was like coming down. I was like, my player was like, oh my God, is there two of you? Excuse me while I throw up in the corner. And the vicar came out enlightened. He was happy about it, but the entire experience was such a joy. Now, that's to say that I've tried to play this. I've tried to get to that mission 3 different times. I've tried to replay this game 3 different times, and I can't do it. There was something that I did in the beginning, in the middle of the game, that caused me to be able to do that mission much later in the game. And I can't really figure out how. You have to have a certain intelligence and certain persuade. You have to have certain things matched perfectly right to be able to do this mission. And that's great, because how many other missions are like that in this game? Tons. So you can have a different playthrough so many different times, and that's what I really appreciate about this game.
That's cool with the game, because it's like almost every time you play, you almost get a different experience.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much, and especially it being such a small game. Like I said, you can finish it very quickly. It's just, gosh, it's really, really neat to be able to play differently. The replayability is such an amazing thing. So that's what I'm playing.
That's awesome.
So, Mike, what you playing?
Well, for me, it's really no surprise. I mean, it just came out a few weeks ago. It's the new Pokemon game. Yeah.
Nice.
So this one.
Wait, which one do you have?
This game, I have the Shield version.
Okay.
I got that one because of My Little Pony. All right, fight me. Yeah, the Galarian version of Ponyta is like this rainbow-colored unicorn. Like, I have to have that.
That is amazing. And they say bronies are dead. Version.
Right, exactly. The show's over, but we still live.
Right?
But this game is very interesting, because when it was released, there was a lot of controversy about the development of it, because they went out and announced very early on that they didn't add the national dex.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
So the 800 something Pokemon that exist through the entire span of the series is now brought down to 400. Which a lot of people went up in arms about that. But me personally, I'm like, wow, for the first time in years, I actually have a chance of completing the Pokedex.
Mm-hmm.
So
I never even tried because of that reason in the past.
Yeah, I did it twice, in Gen 1 and Gen 2, and that was it. After that, I just couldn't do it. There were too many. And this one, I'm like super close. I only need 100 Pokemon left. So if I just sit down, I can probably get it done in relative short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long that relative time would be, but I can get it done. But what's funny is some of my friends are like, oh yeah, I'm skipping this because no national dex.
Jeez.
And they're like,
it's a little
people
harsh.
are like, we need to yeah. Or like, people are like trying to boycott it. And hilariously, it became the fastest selling Switch game, beating out Smash Brothers.
Did it really?
So, yes,
no
it beat out
way.
Smash. So, yeah, eat it, people.
Wow.
Call me
this
surprised.
one,
it's the most right, and Smash is like huge. So to get beaten out, not even a year after its release, by a Pokemon game that half the internet is saying boycott, is amazing. And I am totally a pro Sword Shield gamer. This is the most time I've had playing a Pokemon game in at least since Generation 2.
Wow, dude, that's a big statement, bro. That's a big statement.
Generation 2, Gold and Silver, and the DS re-releases, Heart Gold and Heart and Soul Silver, are still, in my opinion, the best games, because that's how you make a true sequel. Because you get the Johto region, you go through, beat the 8 badges, beat the Elite Four, and then the game starts up again. It's like, oh yeah, now you can go back to Kanto, beat another eight gyms, and beat another Elite Four. And that's totally awesome.
That is cool.
But this one has a really good story mode, which is really weird to say for a Pokemon game, because they've tried to put story mode. They tried to make a story for a while now, and it hasn't really been a coherent story. But this one to me was really, really fun to go to. The only thing I probably have to say bad against it was the big bad evil guy came up like really late, and it's like,
oh really?
Yeah, I saw it coming. Yeah, it's like I saw it coming, and the motivation really wasn't there, but everything else was great. Characters are done really well. They have a lot of cool characters pop up, and the aesthetic of the whole England, Scotland aesthetic of everything is really cool. Like the final city is easily, you can tell it's based off of London, and it looks really nice.
And so can you play this with the Pro Controller? Because I know that was my biggest gripe with Pokemon Go, is that, I love playing with the Pro Controller.
Yes, this one you can play with the Pro Controller.
Jeez, thank God.
So,
my answers
it makes it...
have been my what? My prayers have been answered.
Don't hurt yourself. We still have an entire series to record. This is episode 1, okay?
Right.
Don't cop out now. But yeah, they included the ability to use Pro Controller. You can use the Wii remotes. They have a setting. I haven't tried it yet, but they have a setting that's optimized to play with one hand. So I don't know how that works.
I wonder if you can still use the Pokeball controller with this one.
I don't think so. I know it has the option for you to put a Pokemon in it and go for a walk.
What?
Again, it's another feature I haven't done just yet.
That is so cool, man.
Yeah, so it's like, that $50 Pokeball that you got strictly for Mew, we're trying to still useful. But they brought back old school battles, so now when you encounter a wild Pokemon, it's not just throw Pokeballs and hope you catch it. No, it's you got to weaken the thing first.
So you have combat in this one.
Yes, combat is back in this one, so it's really awesome. They streamlined it a little bit, which I'm happy for, because now you get every Pokemon in your team gets XP when you catch or fight, as long as they're not knocked out. So you can grow your team at a more even pace instead of focusing on one and having to constantly switch out.
That's interesting.
I like that, because it helps people get through the story mode a lot quicker, because a lot of the game for competitive players doesn't unlock until you beat the story mode.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if it helps you get through story mode faster, I'm all for it. They added in weather effects for the new area called the Wild Area, which is like an open world exploration kind of thing. So as soon as you're put into it, you can explore it all, but it's one of those open worlds where it's like you encounter your enemy and you see it's like 40 levels above, and you're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. So you got to be careful which Pokemon you run into. And they kind of throw it at you right away, because you enter this area and you're like, oh, wow, an Onix. I'm going to go catch it. And you're like level 6, and this thing's like 27. You're like, oh. Yeah. And you try right away, and it's like, Onix is like, nah, you're a weakling. I'm going to destroy you.
That is weird. I need to play this game, because I'm trying to like envision what I already know about Pokemon and apply it to this. But this sounds like they completely revamped and improved a lot of the things that, we used to love. So that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. They took the whole roaming Pokemon that you encounter in the wild from Pokemon Go and put it into this one. So now you can actually see what you're going to encounter and choose whether or not you want to fight it. And you can still encounter wild Pokemon randomly in the grass. Cool. When you're walking around, you'll see like leaves start getting thrown up, and if you walk into that, you'll usually encounter a rarer Pokemon than you would that would appear out in the open. So there's still, good mystery on what you're going to encounter. And the weather effects affect, which Pokemon spawn, because there's only some that spawn when it's sunny. There's some that spawn when it's hazy. Yeah, so it really adds a unique feel to the combat. And they really focused on the weather effects in this one.
That's what I used to love about Pokemon. What was it, Silver, I believe, that they actually introduced like nighttime and daytime modes, just like the different. Yes. I like different, like the options in the Pokemon games.
Yeah, the weird thing they did with this one in terms of the day-night cycle is when you start the game before you beat the story mode, the only place that follows the system's internal clock is the wild area. So if you're playing at night and you go into the wild area, it'll be nighttime. But if you go into a city, it'll be like morning.
Are you dusk. Serious?
Yeah, it's kind of it is very weird at first, but it makes sense because these cities are where the story takes place. So
it has to follow a specific.
Right.
Okay.
It has to follow the
story. I got you.
But once you beat the game, the entire region then follows the internal clock, which is kind of cool because you can go back to places that you couldn't encounter at nighttime. You're like, wow, the lights on here and the signs are really awesome.
I get you.
One of my favorite towns, I forget what it's called, but it takes place in deep in a forest, and they have like these luminescent mushrooms that are like neon lights, and it's absolutely beautiful as far as the Switch goes. So that's going back when it's nighttime is really, really awesome.
Playing that docked must look amazing.
I haven't tried it yet. I'm more of a handheld player.
True. Okay.
So one of these days, I'll remember I have a dock and put it on there and see how that looks.
Dude, stick with handheld, man. I'm more of a dock person, but my screen looks beat to hell, man. It's really depressing.
Yeah, I know the Nintendo dock, the Switch dock isn't the best. That's why they sell like the different types of screen protectors and those
and
docks.
You warned me about it too in the very beginning. You did, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it for a week, 1 week. Like I'll get a screen protector, whatever. And
2 years later.
No, just within that week, my screen got so effed up, and I was so upset. And I was like, wow, really? Just from a few times? And my screen just got ganked. And I'm trying to find a way to like repair it, but nobody wants to touch the Switch just because of how complex the components are. So they're just like, hey, we can try, but the odds are going to be pretty bad. I'm like, forget it then.
Best bet would be probably sending it back into Nintendo to try and fix it. But
yeah, then I'll be out of a Switch for a while. For
about a week or so, yeah.
So yeah, play handheld. Stick with it.
But it's extremely fun. I just recently beat the story mode, so I'm moving on to the post game now. So I'm debating whether or not I want to make Pokemon to go in competitive, because about a week or so ago, Nintendo just announced that they're getting ready for the next online tournament or something like that. Like they're starting the competitive seasons up again.
Okay.
So now you can play online in like ranked matches and stuff, which is really
cool.
Ever
be ready for something like that.
Now you need to take a course in eugenics if you want to learn how to play
right?
competitive Pokemon.
Absolutely.
Because there's articles upon articles and websites. Just look at Cerebi alone, and there's extensive courses on how to breed the perfect Pokemon. I was like, this part's not for kids.
Mm-hmm. Much less high school kids. This is more of a college educated.
Screw that. I have my degree and I still don't understand a lot of it.
Dang. Ooh, that sounds like such a good time, man. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. If when you're finally done with Outer Worlds, consider picking that one up. So
well, it's on my Christmas list, so hopefully We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I hear you've been moderately good, so I don't know if Santa's going to be bringing you that. But
I've been moderately good. Yes, I've been eating my veggies, and I've only stapled 2 loaves of bread to telephone poles this year. So.
Okay, I was wondering if that was you or not.
Yeah, that was me. I normally, dude, in a regular year, the entire town has a nice, fresh loaf of rye on every telephone pole.
See, that's the problem, though. The rye is so expensive.
It is. That's why, we had to sell the dogs, had to get a second mortgage on the house. Lizbeth was not happy about that.
Yeah, I remember that day.
Well, that's cool, man. Like, I'm definitely going to be picking up Pokemon. I don't know really the difference between Sword and Shield, but Shield definitely sounds interesting.
Yeah, there's, like any other Pokemon game, the difference between the 2 versions is going to be mainly the Pokemon you encounter. Because the Ponyta version only appears in Shield, while Sword has one. They did a Galarian Farfetch'd, which is really cool because he looks like pissed off.
Oh yes, I see him.
He's no longer flying type; he's actually a fighting type, and he can evolve. And his evolved form is called Surfetch'd. I'm like, that's awesome.
Nice. That's very
so
cool.
he uses his Onion Leak as a sword, and he gets like a leaf shield. I'm like,
bro,
that's dope.
This is cool.
Yeah. Another big change for the versions that I don't think they've implemented this before is it also you encounter different gym leaders. Like in Shield, there's a ghost and an ice gym leader, but in Sword, I think it's a fighting and rock type. Huh. So that's really cool that you encounter different gym leaders.
Man, just looking at the differences, they both look amazing. Just the benefits of both, they really look nice. And the 3D combat looks absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, the sound, the music is fantastic. The gym battle theme song is my favorite. I get so hype listening to that.
That's so cool.
The character models are crisp, the animation's smooth. They really did well utilizing it strictly for the Switch.
Nice. Okay.
So, and it shows. They built it specifically to be played on the Switch. I mean, not like you're going to play a Pokemon game anywhere else, but
right.
It is a really, really good looking game.
Very cool. I'll be sure to put out an extra plate of cookies and milk for Santa this year.
I just remember he's lactose intolerant.
Oh, so eggnog.
Soy milk. Yeah.
Soy milk?
Soy milk.
Eggnog's no better. What was I talking about?
Right. He's if you have the fireplace on, you're probably going to blow up with eggnog.
I wish I had a fireplace. I'd cause so much mischief with that thing.
Oh, yeah. I remember Elizabeth saying that the pyromaniac and you came out in the house, which was the only benefit to selling the house.
Yeah, that's true. You have any other topics, Mike?
Let's go ahead and I want to do something because we're really close to Christmas while recording this. We're about a week and a half out. Since we talked about Pokemon, if you have it already and you've beaten the game, if you have been breeding a lot of Pokemon for whether just to get a perfect IV one, a shiny, or what have you, if you're running out of space, try to save those Pokemon until Christmas Day. And the reason for that is a lot of kids are going to be getting these games for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And if you can Wonder Trade them version exclusives or starter Pokemon, it's going to be an awesome gift to them as they start their journey and get, another starter that they may not have, or a version that a Pokemon from another version that they don't have that's level 1. So the community is going out on this one and saying, hey, do this on Christmas and the days afterwards, because it's gonna make a lot of new trainers really happy when they start.
That's very wholesome. I'm so happy that y'all are doing that. That's very neat.
Cool. So if you do get yours, Duke, make sure you start doing Wonder Trade, and hopefully you'll get some good Pokemon that way.
Nice. Very cool. So yeah, if y'all have Pokemon Sword or Shield already, hey, something to keep in mind for Christmas Day and the days after. That's cool. Neat.
Yep. And a bit of a selfish thing on that one. It's going to help you in the ID lotto, because the more people you trade with, the better chance you have of getting better prizes with that daily lotto draw.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you trade enough of it, you actually increase your chances of getting Master Balls on a daily basis. So just a heads up on that too.
Jeez, heck yeah. Who doesn't like Master Balls?
Right? I mean, you get one a game, and I never use it because I have to have it in my collection. So
yep,
why
that's
not
how I
have
am.
50? It's like, oh look, it's a level 2 Ditto. Yeah, Master Ball.
Throw it at a Ditto.
Into the box you go.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that does it for just about me on this one.
Yeah, we're coming up with almost close to an hour, so we kept it nice and tucked. Yeah, it's been fun running, Hunter. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming with me on this ride, and all of you for listening. I do appreciate it. There's going to be many more to come, and we're hoping to engage with y'all in later episodes.
Absolutely. Yeah,
right.
Just remember to subscribe and tell your friends.
Give it a share. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell.
Yep, we've been planning this for a very long time, and we'd be super excited to keep bringing out more episodes to you in the future. So thank you everybody for tuning in to this first episode. Remember to tip your waitress. Just lift with the knees.
There you go. Well, thank you, everybody. I've been Duke Savage.
I'm Ronin Hunter.
Y'all have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.